Hey, good afternoon. This is Angel with DataCorps Technology Solutions, and welcome to our live show for March 27th. Again, I'm Angel, the founder and CEO of DataCorps Technology Solutions, and what we do here on Monday mornings or Mondays is we talk about a technology topic that I've been asked about, and we also take your live questions. So usually I have my sidekick, Jessica, here with us, trying to keep me on track. So we are going to hope that I stay on track on my own. And normally we broadcast from my office, but today we are at the Center Club. That's right. I'm in one of the rooms here at the Center Club in Tampa. Had a meeting this afternoon, and so we're going to come to you live from the Center Club. Today we're talking about how to buy a business computer. And this is a topic that I run into on a regular basis. People ask me, what should I get in a computer? What should I be looking for? What happens? And usually what ends up happening is people say, hey, that computer that you recommended was rather pricey. Well, yeah, I normally try to get a reasonable life out of the system. I also want to buy quality. When I buy quality, I get 4 to 5 years out of the system. The system performs as I expect it to. It doesn't. It has everything you need, and in many cases, it'll have a few things that you weren't expecting, particularly with laptops. If you drop a laptop, you want to be able to get it repaired quickly. And the laptops, when I recommend clients get them, I recommend that they usually get them with an extended warranty that covers accidental damage. So, when my advice, when I'm asked for this advice, usually it's after a purchase, and what ends up happening is the client will, in the hopes of saving a little bit of cash, they'll buy a system from Best Buy or another retailer, and then they'll give it to us to set up. Well, when they give it to us to set up, it doesn't have Windows Professional, for example. It'll have the Home Edition. And so then we got to upgrade that. Well, that's additional labor, that's additional licensing. And then it might not have the right kind of hard drive, or it may not have enough RAM for their application, or they may not be happy with the screen size, or this, that, or the other. So that's why I prefer to do things right the first time. And, nothing's more frustrating than having to go back, return the computer, deal with all that stuff, and then you forgot this, that, or other accessory, and then you got a restocking fee, and it's just a pain. So that's why I prefer to buy computers right the first time. When that happens, actually, interestingly enough, I got an email from a client on Friday asking me, hey, our computers are getting to a few years old, and what's your plan for the year? And it was nice to email them back and say, hey, listen, your computers might be getting old, but we planned for this properly. And I was actually planning on having this conversation towards the end of this year, looking at replacing them possibly next year. In fact, there's even some small upgrades we can do that'll let them get use out of their computers for, at least a couple more years. So, maybe extend them out to 2020 if they need to. What this can do to a business is it can improve the cash flow. It can preserve those resources. Nothing's worse than taking on a really expensive project without any planning. So it can really give clients a chance to plan out for these projects so that they're being wise with their resources, and they're doing so in an organized fashion. So real quick, what to look for in a computer? Well, for everybody, it's very different. I wish I could say that this was an easy question to answer. But probably the biggest factor that goes into choosing a computer is going to be, believe it or not, your own personal preferences. So you got to deal with this computer day in and day out. It's a big investment. And what you don't want to do is buy a system that you're not happy with, or you don't like this, that, or the other. It even comes down to, in some cases, keyboard preference. Depending on how you prefer your keyboard, you might like a keyboard with an enter key that's just a flat enter key, and some people like the keyboard where the enter key is kind of L-shaped. Again, that can, it seems like a trivial detail, but when you're used to something and you're very productive with something a certain way, those little details matter. So let's take a desktop, for example. When I'm choosing a desktop, uh, desktops generally offer more flexibility when it comes to upgrading later. So there are some things that I can say save some money on, save that for an upgrade later, but still get great performance. So one of the first things that I don't want to skimp on is the processor. And no matter whether we're talking about a desktop or a laptop, you always want to look at an I series processor, not their Pentium or D or Celeron. Stay away from those. Those processors don't have a lot of the multimedia acceleration features that the iCore series has by Intel. I stay away from AMD. I don't know where they're at. They're just kind of out there. So I try to tend to stay away from AMD. Usually Intel seems to be leading the market, though you can get similar chips from AMD, less expensive. But as a rule of thumb, generally the I series processors, i3, i5, i7. The i7 is going to be for your power users, and then if you really have a need for speed, the i5s and i3s are going to be your regular desktops, day-to-day stuff. So when you are choosing them, keep in mind, are you going to be doing a lot of graphics, or you're going to be doing a lot of word processing? A word processing computer is not going to be anywhere close to a graphics powerhouse. So those systems are going to be spec'd out differently. So your preferences are going to be key. Also, your needs are going to be key. So another factor that you want to look at is your monitor. When you're choosing a desktop with a monitor, a lot of people don't think about the resolution. The bigger the monitors are, you do have to run them at a higher resolution so that the text stays sharp. So if you like big characters, you're generally going to want a bigger monitor with a higher resolution. You're not going to want a smaller monitor that runs the same resolution as a bigger one, because what's going to happen is your text is going to look tiny, and that can be hard on people who wear glasses like me. I got to have glasses so I can see everything. Actually, I'm going off on a tangent. I actually have bifocals now, so I have two stages. That's how bad my eyes are getting. But it really affects the way that I select computer screens, which carries on to laptops too. With laptops, we don't have a lot of choice. With laptops, you've got the size. I mean, the size is what it is. So with laptops, you want to be sure. And again, an IT professional can help you choose this because they know how you use the computer. They know what your preferences are. But with laptops, you want to balance the screen size and resolution. You may not want an Ultra HD screen. I know it sounds awesome. I know that the guy in you that wants to buy the best stuff really embraces that really Ultra HD screen. But the problem is that resolution, that native resolution, is going to be so tiny that everything's going to look blurry to you if you don't run the screen at that resolution. Also, not a lot of applications support what's called screen scaling, which is a feature where Windows will resize parts of the screen to make them easier to see. And when those applications run, they'll either look blurry or the fonts and everything will look wonky unless you run them in native size. So I mean, there's so many of those little considerations that you want to have when you're looking at it. Let's see, what else? What else can we talk about today with selecting a computer? Oh, you know what? Laptops. Okay, laptops are really hard to shop, and part of it is because there's so many options out there. So you've got half-size keyboard or partial keyboard where there's no numeric pad. Then you've got the numeric pad keyboard, which those start around the 15-inch screen. The 14 and 13 and 12-inch screen laptops are going to contain a condensed keyboard that's not going to be friendly. I got big hands, so big thumbs and big fingers, so I need good-sized keys that will help me to type without bumping into all of my, bumping into another hand or another finger while I'm trying to type. So that's a big consideration. Uh, when you get into like into the bigger screens, like the 17-inch screens, um, you're going to run into uh, you're going to find that there's going to be some lower end laptops that have big screens, but then their processors are terrible. They don't have enough memory or all that. And I'm going to talk about memory and hard drive here in a little bit because I'm sure that's a question that is going to come up. So uh, selecting those laptops though are going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty hard. But absolutely focus on getting the processor right, getting a good core I processor. If you're doing it for a business, make sure that you're selecting a computer with Windows Professional, not Home. It's upgradable, but generally the home computers are not going to have the same performance as the professional ones. And when you're looking, I told you we would talk about RAM and hard drive space. So I have a couple of rules with RAM and hard drive space. A lot of the newer small computers are not upgradable. So you want to know that for a fact before you start making decisions on RAM and hard drive space. Um, so my rule of thumb for RAM is get as much as you can afford. Same thing with hard drive space. Get as much as you can afford, especially if it's not upgradable. This is where a lot of computers, they're priced to sell, and they may not have adequate RAM. So you get the computer, it's brand new, it's running great. Then you start adding software like Microsoft Office, and it starts running like garbage. So that's one thing that you want to stay away from is buying a computer off the shelf from a place like Best Buy that's priced to sell under $300-400, because it's probably not going to perform well, especially in your business. And time is money. So when you're buying, you want to stay away from non-core, non-I series processors. You want to make sure and buy as much RAM and as much hard drive space as you can afford. Uh, uh, and if you have a laptop, you might want to look at the extended warranty and with accidental damage service, because let me tell you, you are going to drop it and it's going to stink, and you're not going to want to pay to have it fixed. It's going to be nice to have that warranty there to back you up, and it's inexpensive considering the cost of a laptop repair. Let's see, and one thing you want to do now, one quick thing to see if see what kind of computer you have is find the sticker, and I wish I don't know if I can lower the camera, but you want that Intel Core processor. So look at your computer, look at your laptop, and you might have a sticker on it that will say Intel. If you have an Intel processor, and it'll tell you what kind of processor you have. So the core processor is the one you want, i3, i5, or i7. That's one quick thing you can do to check and see what kind of a processor you have. And as you're going out and buying computers, try to select those Core i processors. That's going to be a great starting place. And then again, Windows, Home, try to avoid that. Actually, completely avoid that in business. You want to use the professional version of Windows for business. So if you have any questions, be sure to comment below. Thanks for hanging out with me this afternoon. Comment below, and also we give great tips each week, cybersecurity tips. If you want to try and just go to our website here, I'll put it on the screen here. Let's see. DataCorps.com/weekly tip. That's where you can get some free cybersecurity tips each week, each Monday morning. And if I've bored you today, I really apologize. I do much better with Jessica here because she keeps me on track. She makes this interesting, but she'll be back next week. Thank you so much for hanging out. And again, leave your comments below. Uh, leave your comments below, and we'll answer any questions you have on the other side. Thanks, and have a great week.